Welcome to Synthetic Oil Protection. I'm your host Eben, and well, we're back with one of my favorite vehicles. That's right, the Mercedes. This is a beautiful 2013 Mercedes GL450, and it happens to be the 4MATIC all-wheel drive model. So we're going to go ahead and kick off with the engine flush, and we're going to be showing in detail how to do this on a vehicle, also what it looks like under a microscope. We're going to do a little demonstration. All right, let's kick off the engine flush. All right, we got our rubbers on for extra protection. Now all we do is take one bottle of engine flush. This treats up to about 12 quarts of oil. I've done this on diesel oil changes, you name it, with one bottle, and it still works. And all we do is pop the safety seal, boom, and go ahead and stick it in. And it's like a very clear detergent. And now after this goes into the crankcase motor oil, we're going to go ahead and start the vehicle up, and we're going to let her idle for 15 minutes. And then we're also going to be putting in our PI cleaner, which is going to be cleaning the valves, the injectors, all inside the combustion chambers. And this is going to be cleaning around the timing chain, around the piston rings, getting all those carbons to come out, which we're going to show more about in a second. All right, all we do is start her up and let her idle for 15 minutes. And now for what she sounds like before we do the engine flush. That's the after. Aha! And now, while she's idling for 15 minutes, we're tag teaming her. We're hitting inside the motor around the timing chain with the flush. And now we're going to go ahead and tap it from the fuel system. So this right here is going to give you more performance, more power. This is something you throw in every 4,000 miles. And all you do, just pop the top right here, boom, taco the lid, whoop, just like that, and shaboo-boo. Tip first in. This has the gasless gas cap compatible tip. So not only can you stick it in, and you can yank it out. Easy as pie. Just do that every 4,000 miles. Right, I promised a great explanation on exactly what's going on here. So here we go. This right here is like a Mobil 1. Mobil 1 is what comes in most vehicles like Mercedes. And this here is the AMSOIL 100% synthetic. So Mobil 1, when you get it, a full synthetic, the actual name full synthetic, can be 25% synthetic or more. So that's right, 75% could basically be mineral oil. And this is kind of like what mineral oil would look like under a microscope. All irregular shapes, different sizes, all different types of things like that. And that's what you're going to see here. You're going to see all the mineral oil. This is like a synthetic blend, and this is the synthetic, the 100% synthetic mixed in. So that would be like a Mobil 1 right here. That's what that would look like under a microscope. Now we're going to go to Mobil 1 with, say, 5,000 miles on it. You're going to have all these carbon deposits, and what happens is these little molecules that are irregular shaped are very, very easy for the carbon backbone to attach to. So basically in chemistry, you have different molecules like trans fat, cis trans fat. You can look this up. Basically it clots easy. Same thing with carbon and different types of irregularly shaped molecules. They can break down and thicken much quicker. So that's what's actually taking place. You're burning this, kind of like burning butter. So that's what Mobil 1 would look like after 5,000 miles. And this right here, this is AMSOIL 100% synthetic. So that's right, this is good for much, much longer than your OEMs. Mostly, you're going to be able to comfortably double most OEM. On some vehicles, you can triple and quadruple it. And we actually have an 80,000 mile oil analysis on an 18-wheeler. Check out that video up here in the playlist. And a whole lot of other oil analysis where we actually show the real world results, not in a laboratory, a real vehicle out in the battlefields being driven hardcore, towing all different weights, capacities, you name it. So check those out. So this is what we're going to be putting into the car, 100% synthetic, has a much higher film strength. It's not going to burn off as easy. It's not going to thicken, kind of like boiling down a soup. As you boil a soup down, the water and the molecules that can't hang in there, that aren't tough enough, basically vaporize, and the tough that you're left behind with is the thick stuff. Well, AMSOIL is going to burn off at about half the rate of the best Mobile 1. If you want to look at that, down in the description section below, if you're on your laptop, go ahead and click Show More or Desktop. If you're on a smartphone, you're going to click a reverse down arrow. That's going to open up a whole box so you can check out all that test data. All right, our Mercedes here has been idling for about 10 minutes. We're going to be draining her down here in a minute. We got our 13mm socket. All we do is crack her loose. Boom. Come here with our little oil pan. We should have about, I think, 8.5, 9 quarts coming out. And here we go. She's nice and hot, so she should be quite a bit of a shooter. And there she blows. Woo! Oh yeah, she's good. Good and hot. And that's all the old carbon deposits coming out. So we got our little drain bolt. We're gonna wipe this off, let her drain down, and we'll go hit our oil filter. All right, a little tip and trick and secret on how to get this oil filter off. I use a breaker bar, big old long breaker bar, 3/8 drive. And this is your standard metal cap, and that's your size, all right? Very standard. But this stretches, and when it stretches, it'll slip on the plastic. So what I do is I grab a couple paper towels, and I sandwich in between that so it doesn't slip. And then what I do is I use a little teeny rubber mallet, and I just use that to tap this on, and that way you're not hurting any plastic, you're not going to scratch anything. So that's how I go about getting that on nice and firm. We're going to take this the rest of the way off, and I'll show you the filter. Definitely have some paper towels. It's going to be wet and messy. So we take her out, hold that underneath it, and that's your standard cartridge filter. All we do is take this cartridge straight up and out, just like this. This is our old filter. Just pressure fits in, just like that. We're going to wipe this out, replace this O-ring, put in the Wix filter. Show you the difference. Here's our genuine Mercedes oil filter, and here's our Wix. Wix basically started way back in 1952, I believe, and they actually created the thread-on oil filter. They're actually the leader in filtration. Now, AMSOIL does make oil filters for a lot of vehicles, and Mercedes. They just happen not to make it for this one, but the AMSOIL filter is actually quite a bit better than this. But this is good for 10,000 miles, and the AMSOIL filters are good for 15 or 25,000 miles, depending on which vehicle you have, and they're also a big upgrade. So all we do, we already wiped this out. All we do is just come here, take this Wix filter, and it just pressure fits straight in. Nothing special. Once it snaps in, you're good. So you just get in there, and it just makes it so easy to get underneath. You ravel all the way around, and now you just kind of wiggle it off, drop it down, slap on our fresh one. And now for my favorite part. I love getting it wet, and that's why we always say in the channel, the wetter the better. And I have to demonstrate that. This is my, it's like a ritual. It's just a must. It's a must. So you roll it on. Once you get it all rolled on to the right groove, you know you're good to go. Now we know we're ready for the lube. So we come here, crack open a nice fresh quart 100% synthetic, and this meets and exceeds all the Mercedes full SAPs, full sulfur ash phosphorus specification, and we just lube her up. So how we do it, we get her nice and wet. Yeah. Look at that honey go. Look how clean and pure it is. It's almost untouchable. It's actually quite an emotional experience. And sometimes we drip a little bit, we get a little messy, but it's natural. And we just give her a little lubing up, and that's it. Now we get her tip a little bit, boom, and now she slips in like butter. Here we go. Absolutely like butter. This doesn't go tight at all. This goes to about 18 Newton meters. That's about 12, 15 pounds of torque. Or I take that back, it's more than that. It's like 25 Newton meters. But you don't crank too hard because you can actually crack the plastic cartridge. So all you do is go until it just bottoms out. Once it seats, you're done. All right, so we let her drain for about 15 minutes. Now we throw our bolt on. This goes on only about 12 to 20 pounds of torque. You don't go too tight at all, just enough to have a nice firm seal on the crush washer. All right, we're going to tighten her up. All right, it's that time to feel her up. We're putting in 9 quarts of 100% synthetic, and this is the Classic European. And this is my most favorite part of the oil change. Putting in the liquid gold. And how do you do it? You start by stretching it out. Start low and bring it up. It's like a beautiful liquid honey. And you say, Eben, it looks like you've done this before. Well, this is probably like the 100th engine flush I've done. And if you're enjoying this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. That really means a lot to me. Share this with a friend that might be losing a little bit of compression, losing a little power, a little performance. This could really help them out. So we're going to be putting in our 9 quarts of oil. And believe it or not, these Mercedes hold a lot more than you'd think. I did an S-Class. I think it called for 9.5. I ended up putting 10.2 in. So a little food for thought, when you go to the dealership, they actually don't let it drain for like 10 or 20 minutes. They actually let it drain for like maybe a minute, and there's actually quite a bit of oil that doesn't come out. So we let this sucker drain for a good 10-15 minutes, and that gets a lot more oil out. So we're going to put in our 9 quarts, and we'll let you hear what she sounds like, and we'll go around the block racing around with the owner. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe, tap that notification bell. You're going to want to come back and leave a comment on the next videos within the first 30 minutes, because that's how I select people for Eben's end of month giveaway. We give all kinds of tools away, $100 gift cards. You just never know what's coming next. It's going to get nutty. I promise some nutty stuff to come. So yeah, if you love your car, this is what you do to it. It's a whole love-given process. Well, we're going to see what it feels like in a sec. All right, our first start up with AMSOIL. 3, 2, 1. As she's purring away like a kitten, it's time to put on our badge of honor. Our badge of protection. She's officially AMSOILed. We put 9.7 quarts of oil in, and this is where it's at in the dipstick. Just wanted to show you. So it's not quite at the very top. Now keep in mind, it does take about 10 minutes for it to completely drain down. But I just wanted to let you know, if you let this drain for 15 or 20 minutes after you do a flush, it's going to take way more than 9 quarts. Just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. Man, this was definitely a good flush. Take a look at some of this stuff at the bottom. Little bit of carbon. All right, so we're with Sonia and we're on the test drive. We'll get her experience.
I know, my hair's flying everywhere.
You can make her right if you want. It's
okay.
Safe. It's safe.
Yep.
And we got the boyfriend with. Dave is with. So just a beautiful Vegas afternoon. What is it, 68, something like that? 68 degrees out? 65.
Sounds amazing.
It'll be cool to see the differences. Wow. Wow. Holy cow.
Like, I could always tell if something's wrong with my car just by a little difference. And everybody's like, no, nothing wrong. I'm like, no, I could tell. So it feels really great.
Wow.
She even took it to the Mercedes dealer and they said there was a little knock, and they told her that was normal, and that noise is not there.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed when I started the
They said
car.
it was normal.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting how that carbon kind of slowly you lose your performance and your efficiency and stuff. It's not really something that happens overnight. We need to see.
Where the biggest traffic is.
Yeah, we got our 2-minute lights out here. 2-minute traffic lights. twin turbo V8s. Oh my gosh, they're so good. And then at that green light, if you want, you can make a right.
Okay.
And wow.
So is there any, like, because the carbon was built up, will that dissipate now at all? Or
Yeah, so what we did two things to help with that. We did an engine flush, and that goes in the motor oil. That circulates, takes all that carbon around the timing chain, all those different areas around the cylinder rings. And then you did the fuel additive. I gave you a bottle, and that's going to clean the valves, so the valves seat better, better compression, better performance, and just smoother, quieter operation. And then by it getting rid of the carbon deposits in the combustion chamber, you restore your efficiency of the size of the combustion chamber, so you don't have any pinging and knocking. So if you have very high compression, you need high octane to not have like a knock or a compression. So like just right here, if you just want to give it a little gas, we'll let them just hear it just go up.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. That's good. That's
Okay.
good. Yeah, we're good. What do you see the biggest difference is?
The knocking went away and it runs really smooth.
All right. Thanks so much, Sonia. You're the best. Thank you. You're the best.
Thank you.
Boom.
You're the best.
Thanks, Dave, for coming with. Really appreciate you. Thank you. All right. We'll see you back next time on synthetic oil protection. Oh, and check out this playlist in the middle. All right. We'll see you. Cheers to protection, protection, protection.